wondered if you should listen to recordings while learning a new piece? Well, in this video, I will be explaining my personal strategy to show you how you can thoughtfully use recordings to maximize your learning and enrich your own artistic voice while avoiding some common pitfalls. This video is part 1 in a series focused on how to help you optimize your strategy for learning a new piece in a way that's effective and enjoyable. If you'd like to get notified about the releases of parts 2 and 3 of this series, click subscribe down below. Rather than choosing an either-or approach to the question of should you listen to recordings while learning a new piece, I like to distinguish 3 phases with different approaches. The first is preparing, the second is practicing, and the third is performing. Since each of these phases has unique challenges and goals, I believe each of them benefits from an individualized learning strategy. So, for stage 1, preparing, I do recommend that you listen to recordings. I like to sample a few high-quality recordings and then pick one that really makes me excited about this piece. As you listen to these recordings, I recommend that you keep the score in front of you to follow along as you listen. This will help you to distinguish what is the performer's interpretation and what is actually written in the score by the composer. Engage your imagination as you listen. Really try to connect with the sound and visualize and feel yourself playing it. This will help later in the practicing stage. Listening to a recording at this stage gives you the benefit of having an aural model of the piece before you start practicing it. If there's a piece that simply doesn't have a recording, as is the case for newly composed works, try checking with your library to see if they know of a resource, or if you're in contact with the composer directly, see if they have a MIDI playback file. It's not the best, but it can give you an idea. Failing all of these, look at a full score. In stage 2, practicing, I actually prefer not to listen to recordings of the piece I'm learning. Please note that I'm not advocating for a learning the notes first and then interpreting. I think it should be a seamless process, but one that should focus on the details in the score rather than some performer's idiosyncrasies. This leads me to a common question that people have. What if I come up with a strange, bad, wrong interpretation? If I'm not listening to anything, I might really go off the rails. Well, by taking the score and basing your interpretative decisions on the score, I believe you won't run into that problem. In fact, some recordings aren't very faithful to the score, even if it's traditional performance practice that has been handed down for generations. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way to play the piece. Another common concern is, what if I lose the sense of what this piece sounds like? Maybe you're practicing it slowly to work out the technical glitches, and at some point you're just like, wait, what's this supposed to sound like? However, you can avoid this by utilizing several different practice strategies that, in essence, zoom in and zoom out on the piece so you never lose the big picture. I'll be addressing these practice strategies in another video, so if you're interested, stay tuned for that one. In stage 2, do listen to recordings of other music, especially by the same composer in a different genre. For example, if you're a solo violinist studying a Bach partita, consider checking out his choral music, or even his solo instrumental music for piano or cello. In stage 3, performing, we're again going to listen to recordings of the piece. By now you've formed a solid personal interpretation of the piece, and now it's time to get ideas, as many ideas as you can, to jumpstart your imagination into other possibilities. I recommend that you listen to as many different recordings as you can find, even if they're not great. You might get some good ideas. Another strategy I really like to use at this stage is an improvisational practice approach. Try putting the climax at a different point in the piece. Phrase with different emotions. Experiment with dynamics. Anything you can think of. Just get new ideas. At this final stage, one of the most valuable recordings you can listen to is your own playing of this piece. Sometimes how you think you're playing it is not how it actually sounds objectively. You can also use this in your practice session to try out different versions of a phrase, playing it several different ways and then listening back to each of them. If you found this video helpful, consider sharing it with a friend, and remember to stay tuned for parts 2 and 3 of this series. Thank you so much for watching, love you all, and I'll see you soon.